Welcome back to We're the Harrises. Woohoo! What a big week we just had as a show. We know you saw us all over the place. But welcome back to We're the Harrises. We have Chris Harris Jr., Super Bowl champion. We have Shelby Harris, current player for the Cleveland Browns, and myself, Ryan Harris, Super Bowl champion, alongside my brother Chris Harris Jr. on the Super Bowl 50 team. Boys, let's talk about the number one topic, the MVP race. Chris Harris Jr., who do you have leading the MVP race right now?
Right now, I got Josh Allen. I think the main thing for Josh Allen has always been his turnovers. And this is first year that he's under double-digit turnovers. They're way down. He's playing efficient, even with having less talent around him.
Yeah.
Right? You lose Gabe Davis, you lose
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, but you come out here and you have, I think he has 5 turnovers, less than 10. Last year, I think he was above 15. Right. So this guy has consistently struggled with having turnovers every year. And now he's finally fixed that and he's playing like on an MVP level. But Saquon is right there knocking on his doorstep.
Man, I truly believe, Josh Allen, just like you said, Chris, everyone kept saying, if you cut down on the turnovers, he'll be one of the all-time greats. Because, you could always see it, in all his film. It's just that he would make these boneheaded decisions and have people question it. But if Saquon Barkley breaks the all-time leading rushing record, it has to be Saquon Barkley. And that's just clear cut. The man's having a historic season that we haven't seen since Eric Dickerson. So I truly believe that, Saquon with what he's doing and, just how he's leading the Eagles. We're literally in the middle of talking about how the Eagles passing offense is in disarray. Everyone keeps, A.J. Brown, all those guys are talking about how it's an issue. They can't get the passing game started, and they're still winning games. So if you really, look at the whole, body of work, Saquon has been a consistent animal the whole season. Josh Allen's been doing his thing, but the issue is when it comes down to it, he's there, he's doing everything for them. He's running the ball and throwing the ball. And, you obviously that makes a great MVP case, but if you're talking about breaking records, you got to give it to the guy that's breaking the record. So if Saquon ends up at the same pace he's going to break the record. And I got to say, Saquon for MVP.
I know y'all aren't going to agree with me on this one, but I want Sam Darnold for MVP. I know. You got your Josh Allen. It looks very nice. And let's be honest, it belongs to Patrick Mahomes. You got to wrest that thing from him if you want to get it. It's kind of like the LeBron conversation in the NBA, right? Like every single year you could get the MVP to Mahomes. Jamar Chase says hello. Joe Burrow says hello. But boy, Sam Darnold had 5 tutties, 5 touchdown passes. He's third in the NFL in touchdown passes. This is a guy that everybody wrote off 2 years ago, heck, even a year ago. Now, I'll tell you something. Shout out to Brian Griese. Yeah, that Brian Griese, the Super Bowl champion quarterback who's a quarterback's coach at San Francisco, because he found the talent in Sam Darnold. And I know, I just like to have a dark horse in here, boys. I know it's probably going to be Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, or, Lamar Jackson, but can we get a little love for Sam Darnold? This man's been balling.
Man, you said Jamar Chase. We saw that on Monday night. Jamar Chase is having a hell of a season, just going crazy out there, just truly like he's the reason they really won that game. You're talking about a simple route that turns into a long touchdown. That's what you get in Jamar Chase, the ability to break tackles, get loose, make somebody miss, and then go for 40 yards every time he touches the ball. At least they get touchdowns. The Bengals, man, it still blows me to this day of how the Bengals are where they are when the offense has been as productive as it is. It's just, you're doing a disservice to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase because they're having a hell of a season.
Well, I don't know how good Joe Burrow is. That's how good Jamar Chase was, right? Like I was watching last night, and this is the second primetime game now. He's had all these yards, and he's got like 5 touchdowns in the last 2 primetime games. I'm sitting there watching like, how good is Joe Burrow? Maybe I got it messed up. You know what I mean? He has the opportunity for the Triple Crown. He currently leads in touchdowns, yards, and receptions. He might finish the season with that.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll be the number 1 highest paid receiver after next year. It's just, with the Bengals, you never know how they're going to do contracts, right? I feel like this guy should have been paid a long time ago. Now they're Now the price might be up there with the quarterbacks,
Mm.
right? So Jamar Chase has definitely been a guy that's been taking over this year, and Joe Burrow. He's still in that little elite category of quarterbacks. I would still put him up in there of guys that are very tough to play on a week to week basis. But we will see when it comes down to the MVP. It's going to go down to the very end, right? It's not like it was last year where we kind of knew Lamar Jackson was going to be the MVP like a month before the season ended. This year, we really don't know. Like Shelby said, it's going to be hard to deny Saquon, especially if he wins especially if he breaks the record, right? Who in the modern day era where they don't run the ball every time, right? This is the open running gun shoot offenses. So if Saquon Barkley can break the rushing record in a RPO style league, that'll be amazing.
Man, we have 6 teams bye weeks this week, and I know a lot of our fans out there. It's fantasy football playoff time, and I know, and trust me, I hear it from my wife all the time. It's this, and this have bye weeks. I got to replace them with him and him. But now, with the fantasy football playoffs being this late, bye weeks being this late, does that do the league any good having bye weeks this late? Like, what do you guys think about it?
For me, I hated the end of the year bye weeks. Woo. You're already fighting and trying to get there. It's something that you got that circled on that calendar. But advantage is that you can finish the season strong, right? You know that you're at the end of the tunnel. You're almost there. You can recharge right now and finish strong. But my fantasy team definitely took a hit last week because everybody on my team was on the bye week last week. I came back this week. Josh Allen got me 100 points. He went off. And I got Jamar Chase. He got me 80 points. So they just went crazy, So shout out to those guys, man. But the late bye week, I always thought was always harder for me. I always like the mid-season, But that late one, the big plus is that you can recharge and get ready for the playoffs.
I'm with you, Chris. I can't stand the late bye weeks. But, the NFL's they're getting to this 2 bye week schedule, really, because a lot of the teams that have that bye now had an earlier Thursday game, right? So, number one, always check your quarterback for the bye week. Always check your roster. But number two, make some audacious trades. Go ahead and offer some audacious trades. You got somebody who's hanging on to a player for next year. Well, maybe you can lease them or something like they do in soccer, in the European football, but make some audacious trades so that you can stay in the game and win that championship. I do love, though, boys. I love how many of these fantasy football leagues have like a severe penalty, like tattoos, or you got to eat something, but a brilliant move by the NFL. You think the NFL doesn't know everyone's buckling down trying to win their fantasy football playoffs? Come on now. The NFL knows. They made it more intriguing.
Man, my favorite fantasy punishment I've always heard of is one where you go to like an IHOP. You go to somewhere, you got to be there for 24 hours, and every pancake you eat or every waffle you eat takes off like 30 minutes or an hour. And then you have to literally sit there until you finish it. I never did fantasy football. It's something I definitely will get into right after I'm done playing to stay, in the game. But, man, that late bye week, I feel like that's going to be tough because a lot of teams don't come back the same after a bye week. It takes them some time to get back in the flow of things. And if you have one this late, you got to be playing your best ball right after. You don't have time to come back rusty. You got to go out there and be playing as good as you can. So I'm not a big fan of the super late bye week. If you could split the season in half, I always consider that like the best bye week because it's pretty much like a perfect reset point. Go back home, do whatever you're going to do, relax, reset, come back, be ready to ball because we got this last little stretch coming. But a bye week is a bye week. You got to take advantage of it any way you can. But, yeah, those late ones, those are a struggle, I feel like.
And think about the Broncos. They got a bye week, and then they play, I think they have a primetime game. They play Thursday night also. So it's kind of like Ryan was saying, they kind of get that extra bye week, and they already played a Thursday night game earlier in the season. So it's almost like they got 3. So the schedules might be working out for them, but a lot of other teams, this could be a struggle having it this late, and the big difference is when your team is injured and you can get those guys healthy at the end of the year around this time of the bye week, that could be the major plus, right? Like the Lions. They got everybody hurt on their defense,
Woo.
right? Hopefully they got a late bye and they can get those guys recharged. So there's some benefits and there's some negatives, but NFL, you got to get some more consistency with this. Like, some teams have a bye week after week 3. Like they got to fix that to where it can be kind of evenly rounded on giving teams equal breaks, right? Equal rest.
Well, you know why those bye weeks come so early though is because that's when those international games come, and we see it. You have these long ass flights, and so we got to give our team a week break. I remember my rookie year, my first bye week was week 4. And as a rookie, the rest of the year was miserable because that's the longest stretch of football you're going to be playing in your life. And so, like you said, Chris, they got to get somewhat – they got to figure this bye week stuff out because you can't have a 17, 18 game season and you're giving us a bye week 4, and now we got to play 13, 14 more games already. That's just tough.
I think they're going to go to, in an 18-game season, which we all know is coming. Hello, NFLPA. Think about the players. But that's where I think you're going to get a stoppage every 6 games, right? Like either you're going to get a Thursday night game in the first 2, 6-game stretches, and then that last 6-game stretch, everybody's going to have a bye. There really needs to go to like an all-star break type of system, you know what I mean? Where, hey, this week everybody's off, right? And whether you start the football season a little earlier to get that week. They do it in Formula One. They do it in the NHL. They do it in the NBA. They do it in Major League Baseball, just not football. So I think with the expanded games, you're going to get there. But the biggest thing, too, that the 3 of us know, you learn a lot in that first bye week if you can get it earlier in the season. You're typically a different team after that bye week because coaches finally have the time to sit and look at the, what's working and what's not working. So you can come out a very different team. It's going to be tough for the Broncos coming out of that bye so late in the season into a heavy. You got Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers. I mean, that's a lot. So hopefully they can get it together. But I'm with you guys. I like the early bye.
Yeah, they got a lot of big games coming up, especially to finish the year. But Shelby, man, the Browns got eliminated this week. It was a tough game. How are you feeling going on the rest of the season? Because it's always about pride. We always want to finish the year strong regardless. We're getting paid to do a job and to go out there and, still we're really out there competing for next year, trying to get the contract for next year. So how are you feeling the Browns being eliminated going on to finish the year strong?
Man, it's tough. When you mathematically get eliminated from the playoffs and you still got, we got 4 games left, you got to go out there and really ball out because when you're on a losing team, just like, Chris, when we were in Denver at the end and, when you're on a losing team, they're either looking at you, are you the solution or are you the problem? And
right.
you got to be the solution. You don't want to be the problem because the problem ends up at home the next year. And, like I've said before, you're fighting for your NFL life. But you are no matter if you're in the playoffs or out of the playoffs. Nothing really should change. Yeah. You still got to go out there and prepare yourself every week. You still got to go out there and ball. Nothing changes. It's just a matter of, you're going out there and you're working harder to try to get a better result. You want to show them that you're part of the solution. And, it's just tough because there's a definite end. Everyone's going to make jokes, in basketball, it'd be like Cancun on 3. But hey, after January 5th, my season's over. So, that's just what it is. There is no, if all these people lose, we'll make the playoffs. No, we're out. But, it's just a way, I think a lot of people and, most people have something to play for. You're playing for the opportunity to play next year. You're playing for, here's what a lot of people don't get is, a lot of these young guys will go out there and bullshit it sometimes, but this shows that they're going to have to draft somebody ahead of you. And you just lost your job.
Because you weren't paying attention, yeah.
It's the ugly details of the league, but, we're fighting for our jobs. And, only the strong will survive. The NFL is a cutthroat league. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's either you're going to go out there and do it or they're going to find somebody else that can go do it better than you. And that's just what it is. So, nothing changes. The preparation stays the same. We got to go out there and do our job. And, the biggest thing is this week, beat the Chiefs. And no one believes that we can do it. 10-1. You know, the Chiefs over here with one loss, and you know, us already out the playoffs is, you know, now we got to take that role of, you know, messing people up and messing up their playoff brackets, messing up where they're going to be seated. So that's the goal of what you got to look forward to. We got to go out there and whoop people's asses, and when no one expects nothing of us. But we're going to go out there and do what we got to do and have a bunch of fun doing it, because we still get to play football. The season's not over yet. We still get to play football. So as long as we have games on the schedule, we're going to go out there and play, and we're going to play to win.
I love that attitude, man. And two things I want to say. You know, number one, what a thing that would be if you guys could knock off the Ravens and the Chiefs in the same season. I don't know if anybody is going to be able to say they did that, right? So something to hang your hat on. But I'll tell you what, Shelby, I mean, I've been there. Before it was 2014, no, it's 2013. I was on a 2-14 Texans team that lost 14 in a row. And I only bring that up because half of that team and the coaching staff won a Super Bowl 2 years later. So I think the tough thing when you're in that spot, you got games left, you have the perfect attitude, man. And that's everybody. I don't care what you do for a living. If you got an opportunity, that's what you focus on. You can't focus on the other things. But it is so important to make the most of an opportunity, as you're talking about, Shelby. Prove to the coaches, hey, I'm playing because I love this game. I'm improving because I want to reach my best. We may not be able to go to the playoffs, but I still got an opportunity in this league. So I think you're going about it the right way. And I just know that every player outside of Tom Brady, every player has had that season where you're like, man, it's not working. But it's not you. It's just the opportunity and the time, provided that you're willing to work your way out of it.
Hey, players and coaches will remember who quit.
Yeah.
Don't be one of them. Like, players and coaches will remember when things got tough, when it didn't matter anymore, these people quit on us. Like, they're going to remember that, because that's who you are. That's your resume. That's exactly who you are. So, you know, it's a lot to prove these last couple of weeks, and I don't think the masses understand, because when you think about flopping or trying to get the higher pick, you got to realize it's a human element to it. We're not willingly going to lay down and let anyone beat us. We're going to go out there, even if they bench people. You think the people coming in are trying to do their best? It doesn't matter. Like, everybody gets paid in this league. So it's a matter of, hey, like, this might be an opportunity for you to be a household name. If you go out there these last 4 weeks and just start balling out, people are going to remember that. And then next year, you might even have a chance to really be a starter in this league. So it's always an opportunity. It's always a chance. And you just
your owner might take them out.
Things the positive way.
I said your owner might take them out, Shelby, because they looking at this tank. They looking at might possibly getting a quarterback, right? Because what we have seen is the offense has gotten better with Jameis Winston. He has put up more numbers, more yardage, touchdown, and the offense was just stale with Deshaun Watson. I know you can't speak on it, but you know that leave that to me and Ryan. But they will be looking for a quarterback, right? And you got Darnold out there, which I think he'll be on the market. I don't know what's going to happen with the Vikings, right? And we got a lot of young quarterbacks coming up, so they're going to find a way to get out that contract. Yeah, and so it's going to be a whole new Browns next year for sure.
Yeah, and then you start wondering, you know, my question too with the Browns is Jameis a long-term solution? I mean, that your team, Shelby, looks different on the field, offense and defense, when he's out there. And I can't tell, and people know this from wherever they work, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, where you have somebody at work that makes you happy to be there, that helps you on those tough days, that is leading you so you don't even have time to think about why you don't want to do it. And those types of leaders are so rare that infect everybody with positivity. I just can't. I'm with you, Chris. If I'm on the Browns, I look at how different the team competed later on in the season, and I just say we have to make some big decisions. What values do we have? What do we want the next 3 years to look like? But I mean, Shelby, you guys are a quarterback away from having a great season. So I think the Browns are closer than people think.
Man, you know how it is though. When you have a losing team and you have a losing record, you know, usually some aspect of the team gets blown up. You know, like that's just you know, you're looking for solutions. And so, you know, I've been a part of this before, but I feel like as a team, we've shown, you know, we've beat the Ravens, we've beat the Steelers, you know, we've beaten two of the top teams in the league. And so it's just a matter of being consistent and, you know, being the same team every week. So, you know, I'm not involved, you know, in any of those solutions. I mean, and any of those any of those problems. But all I can do is go out there every week and show I'm part of the solution. And you know what I mean? That's how every player should be thinking about it, though. Like, let me be part of the solution. I'm not going to be the problem. Let me go out there and fix it and show, hey, we have the pieces. We just tricked it off this year.
With the college football bracket set, do we like the playoff expansion this year, right? Adding more teams. I think 3 teams get the bye week. SMU snuck in. How do y'all feel about the bracket this year?
I love it. I love it only because they eliminated a lot of that SEC bias. No 3-loss team should be in a playoff for the national championship. Like that. I don't care what you say about it. Like, Alabama's AD coming out saying, "Oh, we got to look at our schedule, fix our schedule." All your losses were in conference play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you played, my Wisconsin Badgers who struggled this year, and you play some other terrible teams out of non-conference games. So what are we reaching for excuses here? You didn't win the games that mattered, and the only thing you can hang your head on is that you beat Georgia. That's the only thing that Alabama can say right now. But it's just Georgia saved their own ass by winning the SEC championship. Ooh. Because if they lose that game to Georgia Tech at the end of the year, we're talking about a whole different scenario. Alabama finds a way to get in, but since Georgia didn't, it's a lot smoother bracket. I love the fact that it kept SMU in. I truly believe if it ended up truly being a blowout between Clemson, SMU wouldn't have been there. But the fact of how the game ended, you had to let SMU in. But we got with Boise, Oregon. I'm excited about this. This is actually the most excitement I've had for the college football finals in a long time. I just think that anyone can win. Obviously, Oregon is still undefeated. They're fighting through this undefeated season. But I truly believe this is the year where we might have a national champion who comes out of nowhere. And that's what you love as a fan of college football.
Alabama didn't earn the right to be in the college football playoffs. 3 times with superior talent, you lost, which means your guys weren't focused, right? And let's find out what kind of culture is really at that Alabama team. Not that they're not going to the college football playoffs. I see how many people stick around. Freshman receivers already leaving, right? But the brackets worked exactly how it should. Absolutely, SMU should be in there over Alabama. Hey, look out. That road to Atlanta for Notre Dame's looking mighty, mighty nice. They got to beat an Indiana team that just won, it really didn't get tested. And in the one big game they did, got destroyed. Okay. And this is a beatable Georgia team. I don't know if you guys saw. Notre Dame beat USC with 2 back-to-back record-setting pick sixes, 99 yards and 100 yards. I knew you'd like that, Chris. So please bring that Georgia team with whatever quarterback they want to throw it in to throw those picks. Notre Dame has a great opportunity. I don't think anybody outside of Notre Dame is going to beat Oregon. Oregon they not only have the talent, they have the resolve. I mean, they got tested in that Penn State game. I thought Penn State did better than people thought they would, but that Oregon team is experienced. Remember, Bo Nix just came from that team last year. They're in the college football playoffs even before. I mean, this team is experienced and talented. It's going to be hard to beat Oregon, but happy for SMU, happy for Boise State, happy for a lot of the teams that are in there. And again, I just want to point out one thing. The cheapest ticket at Notre Dame right now for that playoff game is $1,000. Not a single player gets a single cent from that ticket revenue. Not a single player gets a single cent from SeatGeek or wherever you want a ticket, Matt. Nobody's paying those processing fees to the kids. This is outrageous. It needs to change. It's called unjust enrichment in the law. You cannot find a clearer definition than what we're seeing economically with these college football playoffs.
And one thing I hate about it is, why is it starting on the 21st or the 20th and 21st? Right? You're giving these kids 3 weeks, 2 weeks off before they have to play again. Right? That's very hard, even for an NFL player, right? Mm-hmm. 1 week. Imagine us getting 2 weeks of back-to-back or bye weeks straight. Mm-hmm. Right? You're gonna have some guys come back overweight, out of shape, not ready to go. So I'm thinking, like, won't they give these kids like a week off, give them a little break, especially if they're in the conference championship. Give them like a week or so, and then it's time to roll. Like, these kids are going to be playing up until February almost, So I just don't like the way they scheduled that and how it's going to be a lot of stress on these kids. Because imagine if you're trying to get ready to go to the league. I'm a senior. I'm getting ready to go to the league. I know I'm going to get drafted, right? This, depending on how far we win, this can interrupt some of your development and getting ready for that combine. So I just don't like the way they scheduled it and how they pushed it back a little bit. Other than that, man, I'm excited about the bracket, man. I'm excited. Hopefully, Boise. I want to see what Boise going to do. I'm gonna ride with the underdog in here, man.
Hey.
See if JEANTY can see how far he can take those boys.
I'm happy you said that because I was just about to ask, who do you think could be ranked too high in this situation? Now, I'm worried about Boise, only in the fact of they don't have a team that really can fight from behind. They're very run game oriented. Obviously with JEANTY, like we see what he does. But what happens when, we see, obviously they played Oregon. He had a hell of a game against Oregon. But what happens if they're down 14, going into after half? What happens if they're down 17? And you got to rely on the quarterback. Do you guys know who the quarterback is?
No,
I don't.
And you know who any of the receivers are? Because the whole thing about Boise State and their offense, their whole team, not even their offense, their whole team is JEANTY. So what happens if they shut him down? Who are going to be the ones to pick him up and help lead them to victory if JEANTY can't be the workhorse that they expect him to? And that's kind of the issue. It's like, all these old NFL teams who had the running back, and then it's like, we're down by 17. What are we going to do? We can't just run the ball. We got to throw it now. And you don't even know the rest of the team. So that's one team I would say I'm worried about. Now, granted, the fact that they were able to do that against Oregon and he was able to pile up all those yards, it gives you hope. But in the college football playoff, you got to be able to, you got to anticipate anything. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens in that situation.
I think in terms of rated two, one, I think JEANTY is good for football. I mean, I was talking to a coach on a playoff team this past week, and I said, how come so many coaches miss you have to run the ball? I mean, that's a formula for success. And look, defensive coaches know it. You think Mike Tomlin, who used to play safety, he doesn't remember what it's like to stop the run on the 25th time, right? He said, and I'll never forget, the coach said, most coaches in the NFL think you use the pass to set up the run. And that is the most backwards way to do math in the history of football. It just doesn't work that way. So I like that Boise State's in there. JEANTY's good for the game of football, to remind coaches to run the ball. And, of course, Chris and Ryan, Shelby, you played with Ryan Clady too. Shout out to Ryan Clady, one of the best tackles to do it from Boise State. So I love it. I don't know about Tennessee. Tennessee to me is the team that I'm like, really? They got in there? So I don't know much about Tennessee.
Tennessee's quarterback, bro.
Yeah,
they got a quarterback that's nice.
Yeah, he's
a big 6'7" quarterback and run. They got a nice physical run game. They got a DN that's supposed to be top 5 coming off the edge. So they got some boys. They got some dogs over there in Tennessee, man. Don't sleep on them either.
Yeah, but I don't believe in the same way. Let me say this, though. If Tennessee beats Oregon State, Ryan Day's looking for a new job. We're going to see a coach, I think, lose. If Ohio State loses, I think Ryan Day's out of there.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. They already wanted him out. Well, all the fan base already was calling for his head after the Michigan loss. But, man, that's SEC, Big Ten. You expect Ohio State to at least make it to the next round. If they lose, all right, we'll be able to come back. But honestly, after that game against Clemson, I'm excited to see SMU in this playoff.
Mm-hmm.
All the offense they have, and even when they were down, they were able to get their stuff together and get back in the game tie the game. And so that explosive offense, I'm excited to see SMU. I'm most excited about just seeing all these new teams in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most refreshing part about this college football playoff is it's a bunch of new teams, and I hate to say it, but a lot of people are happy that Alabama's not in it because everybody's seen Alabama for so long. This Georgia team isn't what they were before. It will be interesting to see what happens to the quarterback if he's able to play because they do get all this time off. It looked like a Brock Purdy injury, like that UCL. So we'll see if he's even able to play. But I just truly truly, I'm just so happy to see a new field of teams. Notre Dame in there, they'll lose first round.
Hey,
But
get out of here. Well, watch it. Well, hey, watch, look out for this defense for Notre Dame. The best thing that people haven't seen is Notre Dame's defense. And number 0, Xavier Watts, a.k.a. Dr. Watts. You're going to love him, but keep going.
I love Notre
shout
Dame's
out Lauren
corners.
Landau. Like, shout out Lauren Landau,
Yeah, Lauren Landau
you know,
out there.
getting Notre Dame right. But I just think that Indiana, you seen Indiana in here. Indiana's had a lot of time off, and that going to what you're saying, Chris, we'll see if these teams are still the same when they come back from 3 weeks off. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to see a lot of rusty football in the beginning, but it's the playoffs, so the margin of error, is very slim. So I'm just excited to see all these games. There's going to be a lot of good football. It's going to be a lot of great college football players playing, and I just think that it's going to be a amazing thing for college football.
I think we got to end it on the NIL stuff and the transfer portal, right? We got the Ryan Williams, number 1 receiver, Alabama transfer portal. Guys all around are announcing they're going free agency, right? Think about it. They're free agents.
Free agent.
Right. And a lot of these kids, hopefully they're not getting misguided, from whatever the marketing teams or NIL people that's doing their contract. And guys are leaving just for the bag, or to and go into a worse situation from what they're in currently. So that's why I'm hoping for these kids. Hopefully it's good that you can transfer and go to any school that you want, but sometimes the grass isn't always greener, right? You might want to stick it there and grow and develop. And a lot of these kids and parents, they don't have any patience anymore, right? If they're not playing, if they don't like the coaches, they're gone, right? It's a whole new era. And Ohio State, like you said, if they don't win, that coach is going to get fired. One reason why he's going to get fired is because they have the highest NIL package for their team, right? They're bringing out the big bucks for their guys, and they don't make it to the finals. I feel like that's going to make these coaches have more chance of getting fired.
Good, because 70% of the coaches in college are unintelligent when it comes to play calling, managing their roster. Coaches have to be held accountable, and I'm glad that the NIL and the transfer portal holds them accountable. I mean, each of us had a college coach lie to us in our recruiting. We could write an entire voluminous book about the lies told during recruiting. And some kids are going to do it for the wrong reasons. And honestly, they're telling on themselves, right? You get 1 year, you don't get what you want, you're leaving. Well, how hard were you willing to work? Were you the hardest worker on that team, right? Were you willing to persevere? The answer is no, objectively looking at it, right? And at the same time, if you've been balling and you have a stupid coach, get out of there. Give yourself a chance to be successful and to continue your dream of playing.
I think what's being missed and this whole NIL talk is going to be a lot of people that hit the transfer portal and they don't get another shot. And I think that's what's being missed out on with this NIL stuff, because you go in the transfer portal and there's no guarantee you're going to another school that somebody else wants you. You're going to another team. Like, a lot of these players, a lot of these young players are leaving their team with no film. And they're just going off their high school rankings. Well, there's new high schoolers coming in. There's new 5 stars. There's new 4 stars. So it's just a lot of these, I feel like these transfer portal opportunities are a lot misguided. It's just it's tough because some people are going to pull out of the school and then try to go back. And they're going to be like, well, we filled your spot already. There's no room for you here anymore. And that's it's going to give it a couple years. You're going to hear a lot of these stories about the NIL and about the transfer portal screwing these kids over because they're thinking that the grass isn't always greener. And you're gonna go try to go to a different team. Nobody's gonna want you, and you're gonna be stuck in the transfer portal. And then that's when you see guys, just kind of fizzle out. And I don't think that's what the transfer portal was intended for, but it's kind of what's going to happen, the further and further we go into this. So I think, you gotta, with all the good, there will be some bad. And so I just feel this transfer portal isn't as great as it seems. Yes, we're seeing a lot of good talent move around, but also it's a lot of misguided average talent that are being told that they can go anywhere they want to, and then they get stuck in the portal with nowhere to go.
And I also hope that these players start to realize, and one of the things that the three of us realized at some point, either our rookie year or second year, not everybody in your circle should be there, right? And you start learning that in this process too. So at the end of the day, hope that players are doing the best decision for their opportunity. And also that they're taking the lessons that are external, right? That they're seeing some of the external things. Not everybody in your circle has great advice, especially people who have never been there or in that position before. So young players are learning early how to gauge and value the advice that is all around them in all shapes and forms.
All right, last one. Who y'all got for Heisman? This is going to be a highly debated one for a long time, even after the champ, whoever the Heisman Trophy winner is, gets the trophy. This is going to be one of the most debated Heisman Trophy, presentations we're going to see in a long time. So who y'all got?
I'm gonna go with Travis Hunter. Being able to play both sides, seeing him live in person, he's a lot better than what you think. It's watching him playing live, right? I didn't realize how fast this kid was, how big he was, athletic he was. So I'm gonna have to go with Travis Hunter. It would be fair though if I would have got to go see JEANTY play live and really see how this guy looks on the field. I think it's different when you get to see him in person. But since I seen Travis in person, I'm gonna go with Trav.
This is no debate to me. Travis Hunter, he's one of the best safeties, if not the best safety, and he is the best receiver. He might be the best returner in the game too, right? I mean, he might be the best corner. So he's got 4 positions. That's the best player. And he's a bona fide 2-position player. Nobody else can say that on their resume. I mean, this is one of the gifts of this time and watching football, getting to watch Travis Hunter play. I know Coach Prime is trying to get him to play early in the game. I think if he does play in that game, that's like 1 series, 1 catch to the out of bounds. We're not doing anything to hurt his chances of making $30 million next year, right? So, I mean, you got to be able to put this all into context. But for Travis Hunter, I think you go out there, collect that trophy, give a little series for the Colorado fans, go Buffs, and then you get up out of there.
Man, I don't want this hate that I've been getting from all these Colorado people. I love Colorado. Love everything about Colorado. I live in Colorado. But I gotta go JEANTY. I just feel like I hate on Travis Hunter. What he's done is amazing. Being able to play both sides of the ball at that level. Like you said, he could play 4 different positions on the team. But what JEANTY's done for this Boise State, there would be no national championship talk if it wasn't for this running back. Boise State would be irrelevant without this quarterback. Without this running back. He's truly he's a game changer for them. And what he's done his college football season, I hate, like, they're both two very good players, but he is the bona fide best back in college football right now. And the numbers he put up, I feel like you gotta give him the edge for the Heisman. So I gotta go JEANTY for the Heisman Trophy winner.
I don't think anybody's going to be mad at you for that one, JEANTY. I mean, a lot of players, and that says something about college football, that you have multiple players who could be justifiably a Heisman Trophy candidate. Well, that's this show for this week's We're the Harrises. Join us next week for the best sports talk.